Good morning, Gretel here. I wanted to record a video about structure, about creating a simple structure for yourself to keep moving forward. So I'm speaking very much to solo mums who are neurodivergent and they're focused on creating their own business or running their own business. And so there are so many moving parts here and so many things going on, and it often feels like too much. And I want to say that that's okay. You're a human being, and a lot of the things that we deal with as a solo parent are so much as it is, and to deal with it with your own neurodivergence and perhaps neurodivergence of your own children, and all the things that are perhaps happening in your unique family as well. It's a lot. I want to acknowledge that it really is a lot. And, I know, this is my experience too. So I'm really familiar with the fact that there's a lot going on. I mean, no neurodivergent person is the same as the next, and no entrepreneur is the same as the next, and no mum is the same as the next. We're all different, but there are a lot of similarities when it comes to the experience of a neurodivergent solo mum in business. And I want to speak to that today, and just with regards to structure and setting up a simple structure for yourself. And structure can be really important. And I want to emphasize the word simple. I'm going to say it lots of times today because simple, I think, is the biggest key, and keeping it simple, because things can get really overwhelming and stressful and a lot. And often, our brains can really get very caught up in all the things. And bringing it back to something that's simple and continuing to do that can be really helpful and absolutely necessary sometimes. So, if you have a brain like mine that needs structure, but also struggles with structure, then finding a happy medium, something that kind of caters to both, and just allowing the swing from one to the other to happen sort of within that, if that makes any sense. So, and I guess to try and clarify that a little bit is that there's times when my brain really needs some sort of structure just to focus on, to feel safe, to know what I'm doing, in order to move forward, to know that I'm doing what I need to do in order to move forward. I need some sort of structure. And when I don't have it, I can feel so discombobulated and so out of sorts, and it can really contribute to the overwhelm. And yet there's also a part of my brain that, and you notice I'm not using any diagnostic labels here, but there's also a part of my brain that really struggles with structure, because it feels constricting and it feels repetitive, and I like variety, and I like to explore different things and have lots of things going on at once. So there's two kind of conflicting parts of my brain, and you may feel you may find that that's similar to your experience, or different perhaps. We're all a bit different. No neurodivergent person is the same, like I said. No human being is the same. Goodness, we're all unique, and we're all supposed to be, I want to say. Like, it's beautiful. It's just about getting to know how you need to operate in the world and how you need to be. So yes, when it comes to structure, it has taken a fair bit of trial and error, and plenty of error. But, I've allowed that error to sort of inform how things need to adapt and change. I think that is one of the keys. I'm going to be talking about lots of different keys to my approach today, and I hope that's okay if I sort of pepper them throughout. Just allowing the trial and the error to happen, and to kind of learn each time, and each time to keep coming back to me and my body, and I'm here in this moment, and here's what I'm doing, and to somehow to sort of come back and sort of keep regrouping and let it be okay that things get chaotic sometimes, and let it be okay that things are not perfect sometimes. And I'm a massive advocate of really looking at all the ways that you feel like you need to meet expectations and be perfect in some way, or to do things perfectly, because I'm here to say that you don't. That's not human at all. To embrace your humanness and be perfectly imperfect is just the most freeing and incredible thing to do, and it's going to open things up for you. But sometimes to know that is one thing, but to be with that part of you that feels like they need to do it perfectly is another. So I just want to put that out there too. So yes, a simple structure that you can do every day that gives you what you need, the things that you put out, the things that you take in, the connection that you need, the movement. I'm sort of talking about the things that I need here. And, having one task a day to complete. So on that, I just want to say that having a daily structure that I can do even when I'm having those bad brain days. And to clarify what I mean by a bad brain day is those days where everything just feels like too much, and you feel like you can't cope. You just want to run the hell away from the whole thing, and it just feels like it's just all too much, and you just cannot focus in the way that you want to. I don't know. It's going to look a little bit different for everybody, but a lot of that description might be a little bit familiar for you. Those days where it feels like everything's going to shit, like it's okay when those happen. It happens to everybody, and it's okay. And learning how to be with your ice cream flavor of it in a way that works for you is also another key to this thing too. So I suppose the approach for me to creating a structure for myself, I've found through much trial and error, as I mentioned, that having a really simple sort of quarterly, monthly, weekly, and then daily structure, and sort of the quarterly feeding into the monthly, into the weekly, into the daily has kind of helped me actually to go from sort of really big picture to creating things, or one thing that I do on a daily basis that I can just do, and know that in just doing that little thing, it's contributed to the whole, is really, really, really helped me, because sometimes I can get very caught up in all the things and trying to do all these things and never really doing anything. If that makes sense. Sometimes I'm hugely productive, other times really, really, really not. So that's why that sort of one thing a day daily, in terms of focus, and that one thing a day might be getting your newsletter out, or it might be connecting with 5 people that you'd like to have a conversation with, potential clients perhaps, but people that you're just going to help. It might just be that, or it might be creating a new freebie, or it might be writing a new offer. It might be writing 2 pieces of content for your business page. This is what I mean by one thing a day. And having that one thing a day that you can just do, even on those days when it feels really hard, and know that you've done something that is moving things forward in just some little way, because I'm telling you, those little ways, day after day after day, really add up over time, and it is beautiful to start to see those results happen as you lean into that. So I suppose for me, business planning has kind of been a big part of this process of actually setting up a structure for myself. It's very interesting. So each quarter I've just decided on what my goals are, like what I really want to do that quarter? What is it that I'm trying to do? Is it that I want to get 5 new clients? Is it, or 10 new clients? Or is it that I want to launch a particular thing? And there's always an income goal for me. It's like, I want to earn X amount this month, or sorry, this quarter. And then looking at all the ways that I can start to do that in my monthly, weekly, and daily activities. So it's going to look really different for everybody because we've all got very different businesses and very different ways of being and operating. And so this is where I want to get into the keys of this. So, getting to know what you need and how you need to do things. Like, for example, I need movement each day. Like, I need to move my body in some way, even if it's going for a walk, like doing some star jumps, doing, just some kind of movement each day. And I need variety, actually having, the same thing each day over and over and over. And doing that can be quite hard for me. I get drawn in different directions, and I need to be lit up by what I'm doing. And sometimes, I need variety in order to sort of feed that. I need time to reflect and write, like to just stop and pause and think about things. I need time to, to connect. I need time alone. All these things might seem like a bit of a pipe dream sometimes for a solo mum. Absolutely. But finding ways where you can get what you need, actually getting to know what you need to start with, can be a really interesting thing. Getting to know what your business needs and building a relationship with your business that feels good. Have you ever thought about it like that before? Have you ever thought about the fact that, building a relationship with your business, almost like your business is an entity and you're working together to put stuff out into the world? And so, getting to know what you need and your business needs, maybe think about that, consider that, and see what comes out of that for you. Like I said, keeping things as simple as possible is key. And, when things get too much, to stop, regroup, and just come back to that sense of simple, come back to that one thing and letting it be okay. Like, oh, wow, that's so interesting. Like, curiosity and compassion is a really big thing for me. So just noticing with curiosity and compassion, oh, wow, I went on so many tangents just now. And, that's okay. I'm just going to come back to this thing that I'm focusing on today. And just keep doing that and let it be okay to do it over and over. It's okay. Just allowing that to happen, and allowing rabbit holes to happen too, even making time for it. It's perfectly okay. Just sort of bringing acceptance to a lot of the ways that you do things, and the way things happen for you, and the way your brain operates, and adapting your structure as you go. So that you can get to know what works and what doesn't, and how you need to operate. Like, just getting to know what feels right, what works, what doesn't, is perfect. And letting go of any concept that there is one right way to do it, because there isn't. There's so many cookie cutter approaches out there, and people who, experts often, and often they're not neurodivergent. And they have, quite a cookie cutter type approach to things. Like, in order to be successful in your business, you need to do blah, blah, and blah. You need to have this, you need to have that. There's sort of a list of things that you've got to have, or you've got to be doing in order to have the success that you want. And this is not always helpful, I've found. Really leaning in to finding what feels good for me and it works well for me, has been really, really, really important. So, yeah, for me, the absolute game changer has been having sort of one goal a day, like I said, and then within the day, having just 5 little areas of focus, or 5 little things that I'm going to do in getting that one thing out of the way. And, if other things get done too, that's cool. but allowing yourself to celebrate getting that thing done, and to allow yourself to then do something else rather than feel like you have to do more because you've got that thing done, is really, really helpful as well. Yeah, I think a big part of it is just noticing how you feel in response to starting to lean into a lot of this stuff, and particularly with regards to feeling like you need a structure and not having one, and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, for me, I have 5 little points that I focus on each day, even on the weekend, actually. And letting it be okay if I don't hit every single one every day. It's completely okay because it's not about being perfect. So, um, yeah, those things are to pull a card. I have some beautiful oracle cards that I pull every day. I just pull a card every day and lean into the meaning of those cards. So these cards, I love these Nature's Whispers cards. They're just beautiful for me. So if that's something that resonates for you, perfect. And if it doesn't, perfect. I'm just letting you know what's worked for me. So pulling that card and just allowing myself to really um, just lean into the meaning of that card, and just allowing my intuition to play a little bit, and just I guess play with a lot of the connections and the feeling of that card, and just allowing that energy, if you like, to guide me. This is something that really works for me. The second thing is to connect with my body. Bring my body into the conversation. I'm very much about that. So often when we get caught up in all the things, we get very much up in our head about all the things we have to work out and figure out and do and blah, blah, blah. And so to each day, and usually first thing, to connect with my body and go, oh, wow, okay. And often, taking a deep breath and just noticing what's here, and just noticing if there's like activation, if there's a particular, temperature, sensation, any contractions that are happening, and just listening to that language of sensation that my body is speaking to me in, and your body speaks to you in all the time, even if you're not listening. So just to listen to that and to notice that. And I suppose, in that sort of body part of my day, to when I check in, to just check in and notice what my body needs in that moment, and I often do a somatic movement. So, if I'm feeling, sad, then I'll, perhaps hold myself for a moment, a hand on my chest and my belly, or just on my chest, with that perfect amount of pressure for me to feel held. Or I hold myself like this and just feel that sense of support and sense of holding. More often than not, it's I'm feeling, I'm feeling sort of more activated sensations in my body. There's sort of more activation happening in my nervous system. So it might be, actually standing up and moving, like swaying from side to side, or shaking or dancing or something like that. There's lots of different ways to find what works for you, but I find that sometimes really helps me to shift the energy. And if I'm going to be speaking or presenting in some way, to use my voice, to sing, to hum, to allow that voice to sort of come from a deeper place inside me, can be really helpful. So that's the second thing. The third thing is to talk. So for me, talking is actually, and self-expression is actually quite important, and sort of leaning into that by just allowing the words to come. And, for some people it's writing, that can be helpful. So instead of talking, it might be writing time. But for me, I need to actually talk and use my voice. And so I literally just get my phone, face to camera, and I talk whatever comes up for me, like whatever is there, whatever's alive. I just give some voice to it and talk to it. And often it can come out as something that I share, and I might even do it with that intention or not. But really, it's just to talk and to allow whatever's there to be expressed from inside me, which is quite a powerful thing. And then the fourth thing is posting on Facebook. So Facebook is my platform of choice. It might be Instagram or LinkedIn or something else for you, but for me it's Facebook. And so I post in groups, 1 to 3 to 4, sometimes different groups. Sometimes it might be just one, sometimes not at all, and I let it be okay that I don't. But I have that there, and I post, and I yeah, the other thing is that the posting part of my 5 things is that I set a timer around that posting, because I find sometimes that can get pretty out of control. I can find myself sitting there for 2 hours trying to write posts for Facebook groups. And honestly, I've realized that posting in Facebook groups is important, but it doesn't warrant 2 hours of my time. So I set a timer for half an hour. And when that timer is up, whatever I've done or not done, I just let it be okay. And if I do have time and I feel like it, then I add another half an hour. That's okay. But at least, but more often than not, it's half an hour. And I'm getting better actually at just allowing the words to flow in that half an hour, and having the card and the body and the talking happening before that kind of really helps things to flow actually with that posting. And I also check in on my own business page post for the day as well. And I just sort of a little side comment is that I've set up every school holidays I do a term's worth of business post for my business page, so that there's something going up each day. Because I've actually, struggled with creating that content consistently and knowing what to put in there and all kinds of things. And I've lent into all kinds of things, but I found what really works for me is, that time when the kids go to their dad, I just take a day where I do nothing else and I create content. And, during the term, I come up with ideas for that content, and I pop it into an ideas book. I use the Notes app on my Apple Mac, which is also on my phone and also on my iPad. Love the way they all sync together. But that's something that really sort of feeds and informs this posting piece. And then the 5th thing is connection. So it's one-on-one connection. So from that posting, I interact with other people's posts in those groups, and I offer support where I can, and I help. And, I might actually, where it feels right, to invite people into my DMs or my email, or, to help them, or to perhaps jump on a Zoom to help them. So it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily about, trying to sell them anything, or it's having a conversation and connecting with other people that you can help. And then in doing so, it might be appropriate to say, hey, I've got a low cost single session this month. Would you like one? Yes, no, let it be okay. Yes or no. But, it's just having that, initiating that conversation, because those connections with your customers come from those relationships that you build, and you're there to support people and help people, and providing that help and starting conversations is a really beautiful way to start to bring people into you and your world, and then continuing that conversation on, and perhaps at some point when it feels like the right thing, to offer the paid work that you do too. But that's a whole another conversation and different process. But they're the 5 things that I sort of allow to provide a structure for my day. And so it's that one thing daily, and it's the 5 little items in my day. And I find it really easy to do those things. So for you, it might be 2 things that you do every single day. It might be, I probably wouldn't recommend more than 5, honestly, but those 5 feel really good for me. And like I said, I let it be okay that, if I don't feel like talking, I don't. If I don't feel like having conversations with people, I don't. Probably the card and the body are the two that are kind of not negotiable for me. So I suppose they're the two, and then the other three, there's the invitation there for me to lean into doing those two. Even if it's 5 minutes, I let that be okay too. But that sort of provides that sense of structure to those things, and those things are, gently moving me towards where I want to go in my business, really, because my focus, on a more bigger picture level is to have conversations with people and to get to know people and nurture people and invite people, into connecting with me and perhaps working with me if it's the right thing for them. And if it's not, to, even just continue those relationships, absolutely perfect. So having that connection piece there to do daily, or at least, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, is really, really helpful for me. So I hope that's helpful in, perhaps supporting you in thinking about getting a structure together for yourself in a different way, maybe sort of freeing things up a little bit around that. And I realize I've talked for almost half an hour, my goodness. I hope this is really helpful though, and, it can support you in some way. And I just want to say that, this can be very different for all of us. And it's about getting to know how you need to do this and how you need to set the structure up for yourself. And it's okay to experiment and try different things. There is no one way to do this. So sometimes it can be really helpful to lean into talking with someone about it. And, to let you know, and if it's the right thing, I have a 90-minute clarity session where we can sit down and lean into this stuff for you and get to know you. There's a few different ways we can do that. Get to know what you need and how you need to operate and what you absolutely need each day, and just what is the right way to set things up and get things in place for you to have a really simple structure to guide things in your day. And, how that sort of feeds into your overall plan as well. It's quite individual, I've found. And yeah, my plan looks very different to that of other entrepreneurs. And I really love that. And I'm starting to see, now that I'm leaning into the way I need to do it, and my own authenticity and my own uniqueness in the world, I'm just starting to see my own uniqueness and my own acceptance, myself, self-trust start to emerge. And for the results that I want, that consistent income to start to happen, and the clients that I want to work with to start to come in. And so I want that for you too. And so if you are interested in doing one of these sessions, I am offering sessions for, less than I normally would at the moment. So if it's something that you'd like to do, reach out on DM or, comment on this and let me know that you're interested in having a conversation about it. And let me know. We can have a chat on Facebook Messenger, or, even set up a free half-hour chat on Zoom if that's the right thing for you. I don't know. Meeting face-to-face might be too much at first if we haven't met before. That's completely okay. So, feel free to, have a look at my Facebook page and maybe listen to my podcast, Embracing Uniqueness with Gretel Jane. And, some of the other things that I do, and feel free to reach out on DM first and explore the idea. There's no pressure from me, never any pressure from me. If I will provide the information that you need and help wherever I can. And if working together is the right thing, then let's do it. And if it's not, no problem. Looking forward to talking with you and supporting you in any way that I can. And I hope this is helpful in starting to approach the whole idea of getting together a simple structure. I'm looking forward to being able to support you individually if I can. And I hope this has sown some seeds that'll support you in the future as well.